Hello, Airbus Cockpit Coach here, and welcome to the channel. I'm a real-world Airbus captain flying the Airbus A320 series across the skies of Europe for my day job, but today we're inside Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 with the Phoenix A320, and we're going to be exploring Sim Update 3 and all the good things that have happened with the Phoenix recently on a flight from here at Innobuild's London Luton over to Berlin, a route which I happen to know quite well. So we're currently in a cold and dark state, and we've just approached the aircraft for the first time here. We always stop and take a little view of the aircraft here, sort of subconsciously as pilots, as we approach an aircraft now. You've been doing it for a number of years, but you're kind of looking at the services connected, the kind of activity going on with the aircraft, just to get a quick overview of the state of play of the aircraft and where we're at in terms of loading or maintenance and that kind of thing. So we're going to jump into the cockpit and get set up. Now, the question is, are the stairs close enough? Am I going to fall down a gap here or not? Oh no, we don't. We're in. Good. That's happened to me a few times. There's a little gap and you fall down, not in the real world, in the simulator. So you'd be pleased to know that's never happened in the real world. But yeah, in the sim, certainly. All right, so let's just jump into position. Now, I have also set up the Tobii Eye tracker again, so that's now natively supported in Sim Update 3. And if you do want to check out my settings for that, I have put them in a post on the YouTube channel. I've also put my side stick sensitivity settings into a post, and that's got a little video attached to it, which goes through my X, Y, and Z axis, I think, for the side stick. In terms of what I feel gives me a real-world feel, that's just my personal opinion. Other people may think differently. So the first thing we'll do, we would have looked at circuit breakers and that kind of thing, safety equipment on the aircraft. I've got our racks down here, fire extinguishers. We're going to check our general safety features, starting down here in the pedestal. So master switch is off, making sure these throttles are back in the idle position. Gear lever down, coming up, wipers are off. Battery voltages are above 25.5. Of course, down here as well, you want to make sure that the weather radar is also off. That's the first checks we do there. So with that, we can start to bring the aircraft to life. And we've got the GPU connected, so we'll get the ground power on as well. And while the aircraft is sort of initializing itself electrically, we can come in and we can pull in our flight plan in the FB. We're already getting a little bit late, so on this one, not to worry. The right flight though, Luton to Berlin. We'll take a look through the flight plan. So correct aircraft type, we would cross-check the registration as well, because the flight plan being provided around a particular aircraft, or the aircraft are different in some way, shape or form, usually with additional bits added at the factory stage, or winglets or wingtip fences, all those kind of things makes performance different, so they do need to match. So we've got a zero fuel weight today of pretty much 59.8 tons. It's our limiting factor today. Expecting 6.7 on the fuel. The trip should be 3.5. Underload 1.2 tons. Max shear rate 3.8 at back off. So it's not going to be particularly bumpy. Also today is Echo Delta Delta Papa, and we're going to be Easy 57 Delta Golf. Cost index quite high of 60. 370 for the cruise at -53 forecasted, and a tailwind factor average of 19 knots. Departing out of Luton 07, Mach 2 Charlie, and into Berlin 24 right with a distance just shy of 600 nautical miles. 1.9 tons for the diversion at flight of 260. That seems sensible. And we'll take a look at the weather en route. we'll start with the charts. Some icing around across Europe, turbulence, but the wind is becoming stronger as we get out towards Berlin. The cruise is pretty much at the tropicals as well for the initial part of the flight. That's good to know where the majority of weather lies in terms of the tropicals, so it's always handy to know that. We'll come over and check the actual weather at the airport. So Berlin at 320, 10 knots currently, Cav OK, 16 degrees, 1014. Temporarily becoming gusting to 25. And also we've got gusting to 35. We've got some showery rain, some CBs, so potential thunderstorm activity later in the day. So we need to bear that in mind as we're going to make some fuel decisions in a minute. And in terms of alternates as well, again, gusty winds, showery rain, CBs around later on, increasing wind speed. So you'll see here at Luton, we've got the nicest weather. So we're flying into a worsening picture, and we do need to take that into account. And we would have discussed that already as crew within the briefing room as well. Quite often in the real world, I would get the flight plans in advance, and while I'm having my coffee, when I wake up in the morning, I'll be reviewing that and thinking about fuel decisions on my drive to the airport. Sometimes we don't get that information straight away though. So let's come back out and we'll go into the mass and balance piece. So 6.9, just confirm the underload. So my 1.2 tons is my clearance. I might throw in an extra half ton just for potential weather avoidance as we get into Berlin. We've got a fair amount of fuel for our diversion. We could also change that diversion as well to other aerodromes that may be more favourable. So we've got a little bit to play with there. So I'm going to make this 7.5 on the fuel. Enter that and apply and load, and we can get GSX sorting that out for us, hopefully. At this point, we would also start to bring up our charts. Let's see what we've got started here. So ground chart for London Luton and the match to Charlie, as we just mentioned, for our departure. Excellent. Speaker is turned up, and we'll come down here and look at the radios. I'm going to be using Say Intentions AI today for the first time for our ATC. I have used Beyond ATC in the past. I own both of those pieces of software, but this is the first time I'll be using Say Intentions AI on the channel. So it'll be interesting to see how that performs for us. I have got a subscription to that now, an annual one, so it will be a regular feature on the channel in terms of our flights. So we'll see how that performs. So we get the things lit up, and I know that the Phoenix links, I think, the cabin sounds to some of these controls, I believe. So I'm going to hit those. We are monitoring the distress and diversion cell as well there on 121.5 on VHF2, which is tuned here. And that is active, so we can get hold of anybody should we have any issues at this point in time. I'm going to come up now and do the APU fire test. That's all good up there. We have the master warning and ECAM. That's a good test. So we can consider putting the APU on now. It's really the cockpit, it's 30 degrees. We would probably open a window on both sides to get some breeze going through the cockpit itself. The cabin's okay at 22. I'm going to be a good captain and save a little bit of fuel here today. And we'll get the APU on a little bit later. We can get the IRSs into nav. Left, right, centre. Come down and we can do recall. This for 3 seconds. We'll give you any previous maintenance messages that may be lurking behind. That's normal, flashed up there. It's back into system page. We would check the tech log as well. We've checked our emergency equipment. We can also check our masks, oxygen masks. We would face fit those. So we know they fit, so we're not messing around in the event of them being needed at altitude. And obviously the tech log we would have reviewed, signed off. We also want to check the aircraft is the correct one here as well. So A320-200 CFM 56. We've got our nav database in date. Before we get too far down the line with loading, we want to make sure that the performance works for us. We can sync the prelim. Sync live weather. Calculate. And 101 plus F. We calculate on that, so flexing to 52, that's not an issue. We'll get it up to date on 07 full length. So we don't need to make any last minute adjustments or set any passengers, take any cargo off, that kind of thing. A quick flick through the hydraulic pages, so quantities of reservoirs are good there. I want to check the wheels as well, temperatures and pressures. The aircraft could have come in, could be hot on the brakes, so good time to catch that. Engine oil quantities are good. I want to make sure that's acceptable. Quick check through everything else, and we've got a cockpit oxygen at 1800 psi. That's what we want to see as well. So we don't need maintenance, certainly not at this time. Flap levers up, and that agrees with our ECAM. We can release the park brake, go on shocks, and just check the accumulator pressure there as well. It does its thing. And we'll get our nav lights to on. The aircraft is connected electrically. And we'll go out for the walk around. So this is where we test my controllers skills. I'm conscious we may fall down this gap. We'll get down there one way or another. Let's have a look. How quick we did. There we go. As I was talking about earlier, that's the quick way down to just where we need to be actually. So we would normally start the walk around at this point, looking up at the vanes here. This is actually part of the aircraft where you, because of the boarding equipment, you can get damage. Just making sure everything's latched and closed. The oxygen discharge light there is green. Angle of attack, our pitos are free of debris, so we're looking down those. Looking at the condition of the oleo, the lights here, and looking at the tyre wear. No oil leaking from anywhere. Coming down the side of the aircraft, I've got something blocking me while I'm looking into the GPU here. No. Around this side. Everything is closed, latched up there. Obviously these can be opened like that. So I say obviously they're going to be opened up for these people coming to load our aircraft up. So for anything that is closed, we would make sure it's latched up. Already refueled by the looks of it. The engine's not going to stick my hand in there and whiz it around because it's already doing that, but also making sure that the this area around here, this sometimes gets torn. This is where the hot air for the anti-icing comes into the engine. Make sure that material is in good condition, making sure the blades are intact and it's freely moving, which it is. And look underneath the engines for any oil. Everything's latched up, getting hit by ground crew. No fuel venting over the sides, looking for the strobes. They've got a blue light indicator in there. If there's anything that needs changing, No birds hanging out of the aircraft. All looking good. Down the rear of the engine, and nothing stuck in there, nothing out of place. Okay. Nothing leaking there, and we come through and we check the wear pins, which are here, so we've got pretty worn down brakes actually. Still got life in, but certainly at the edge of life. Hammer those too hard. Right, I'm going to come to run me over. Looks like I'm going to get out of the way quickly. A dangerous place to be walking around aircraft sometimes. It just shows that, so we're latched up there. Bloody valve. Again, no birds, damage, debris. There's a bottle discharge light for the APU up there as well. It's a bit hard to see in that. And the same on this side, looking for anything leaking. Tyre condition's good, but again, the wear on the brakes is again end of life brakes. Nothing else, nothing other than that causing cause for concern. This is where the ram air turbine is stored on the aircraft, so this is where it will drop from in the event of going into an electrical emergency configuration. Right, so let's come back and get a good visual picture of the wing. It's all looking nice. Static wicks on the wing as well, all in place. We can deal with a few of those missing, but not all of them. Again, no blue little LEDs in there indicating a light needs changing. Nav lights are fine. Remember, I looked through the rear of the engine on this side, but matched up, no oil leaking. Looking good. Back to the front, and let's see if we can get back in through the steps, or we're going to fall down again. Under the wire there. Okay. We go. Hello. We can get on alright, we don't fall off going that way, but very nice. No passengers on yet. Back into the seats. Okay, that's the walk around complete, nothing of concern there. We can then go for the overhead. That should stay on. Cockpit recorder, do a test. Right line there. We can have seatbelts on, although passengers aren't boarded yet, but fueling is completed. And the pumps can now come on. And we do the engine fire tests. Master warning, ECAM and pedestal. All good. Engine 2. Master warning, ECAM, pedestal. Excellent. All good on the right side as well. I'm going to start the APU now. So expecting passengers to board. We'll get the aircraft cooled. And because I've got a first officer sitting next to me, I'll probably forget. Where are our passengers anyway? That's any sign of those coming? What's this saying? So cargo's there, fuel's there. Not much sign of passengers yet. side again. I'm trying to think of what's in the settings in terms of probably a GSX setting I need to review in terms of how it loads the aircraft. Okay, good around there. Pedestal. Happy there as well. Okay, let's jump into the MCDU. So we've already checked the database, that's up to date, correct aircraft. See if we can put our data in for the ATC side of things. Yep, EZ57 Delta Golf, Gatwick, Berlin. Sorry, not Gatwick, London, Luton, Berlin. So we put our data in this side as well. Sometimes we secondary for that. 187 Delta Golf. Cost tips index was 60. In fact, we can bring up Navigraph charts. We can put the information side by side with our MCDU. Oh, wants me to sign in again. There we go. Sorted. Let's just download that import flights. Import this in brief. That's the one. And we'll get that up. Make that. Make it a little bit I'll put you. Network. Okay. Cruise 370. Minus 53. Proper pause 36,950. In there. Ground temperature's 19 currently. Blowing our winds aloft. Okay. So departing on 07, match 2 Charlie checked, and Brooklands Park, match Brain, Casco, Rattle, Redfur, match Battle, Ockburr. Into Berlin, expected arrival is currently 24 right. And we're going to be on the 24 Romeo. That's the one. It'll give us a distance 592, 592 spot on. That's actually quite rare for a spot on one actually. So that matches up. Routes checked. That's good. You can consider what we need in terms of the departure in the RadNav. Brooklands Park's auto-tuned. We could hard tune that. To be honest, thinking more about an immediate return coming in 07 side. The other side would have the LUT, but there's not too much I don't think we need to hard tune into that. So happy to go without that. Just checking that accuracy there. Performance will come back to. We could start to put in prelim figures actually. Have I got any messages received? Let's have a look. So we have prelim load sheets. 966.7. Let's take a fuel. Get through that one. Looks now updated, hopefully. So let's have a look. Edition 2. Usually you have a double dash against that double forward slash against the part of the load sheet that has changed. I can see that there. What I do need to make a note of is the MACTO of 30.9. Useful for setting our takeoff trim. Secondary flight plan, we copy the active. And we can put it in our emergency plan. Should we pop an engine on the way out? Base bearing distance, so Luton, threshold 07, out on 074 degrees, so 25 miles. And we'll hold there on the inbound radio, which is the runway track 074. Right turns, come back, and if we select another of those, we can put new destination, Echo Golf Golf Whiskey, that's London Luton where we departed from, and we'll put in the ILS for 07, no star. So that's the secondary in. We'll come in also, we'll go into the flight plan. We'll put a fix info in as well for Echo Golf Golf Whiskey 07 and a radial of 074. So we've got a bit of an outbound line, so an immediate reference for runway heading should we lose an engine and need to maintain that course. I'm just going to make sure we're getting the passengers on board. How are we getting on with that side of things? All very. Is there something I need to do? Yeah, passengers aren't coming on. Boarding passengers now, it says. Oh, is that fuel still going up? Are we still fueling? We finished the fueling. Is it going down as I'm burning it? Is there something I need to do in terms of ground services? There was one left. Yeah, the doors are closed. There was one right. And that would help. Does that trigger anything? Oh, here they come. Right, we just need to open the doors. So was that probably a setting I need to make in terms of auto door adjustment, I guess, in the sim. So here come our passengers. ATC message received. Depart request status. Message 1 or 14. 2. Right. So you go on there, lots of messages that are seemingly quite, might be from my testing. We'll see. I will get a verbal departure clearance. I'll load that up just to make sure. Test same intentions as well. So what have we got in terms of our Q&H here? In fact, we could tune say intentions ATIS and we can listen to that. So let's bring that up.
Sky conditions. View at 4500 feet. Temperature 19er. Dew point 11. QNH 1020.
020.
Transition level 70. Advise on course heading.
Set cross check 3 times.
And if traffic service is requested. Read Becall runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Bravo.
Bravo. Copied.
London Luton Airport. Information Bravo. 1650 Zulu. Arriving and departing runway 7. Wind 130 at 10. Visibility 10. Sky conditions.
Okay. Got that. Constraints. The VOR's on. Sensible on my side. A familiar view for me, seeing passengers come by the window. It's a little bit delayed there for the doors on getting the aircraft underway, but in the meantime we can brief up our departure. This would normally start with deployment monitoring, but I'll cover off both elements of that. So for this we'll bring up our charts. Start with the airport chart. So today it's going to be a left-hand seat departure, obviously. Take off runway full length 07. And we do have a hotspot in route, hotspot 1, so to be aware of. On the way out down to runway 07. We're on the match 2 Charlie departure. Initially we're climbing out into a 2200 MSA. We can just double check that actually in terms of we'll put 22 in for the in and outs. That's the worst case factor considered in terms of terrain. So first cleared altitude, we need our clearance. So we'll wait a standby on that one, but the MSA is considered. Extra fuel and time. Again, we need we could put the prelim in. But we can do that. Let's run it from the prelim. Give an idea of fuel, and so I haven't taken the weight so badly. Is everybody on yet? Is it? That's quite quick. That's everybody on. Yeah. Make them sit down. So I'm going to have to redo this in a second, adjust and check for differences. As we stand now, we've got extra time, half an hour basically, at 1.2 tons, which is what I want to see. We've got a stop margin of 214 and V1 134, 38, 39, flexing 52 for departure. Engine outs is in the box, straight out holding at 25 miles. We are going to be slightly overweight should we need an immediate return, so we consider our options. I will happily take an overweight landing, not potentially at Luton though. I may consider Stansted as a bit of a longer runway should that be needed, and depending on what time is on our side. No non-standard operations today. I'm obviously testing say intentions AI, so we'll see how we get on with that. But yeah, weather. We've got a bit of a worsening weather picture as we get out into Europe in terms of CVs to consider. So weather over in German airspace is going to be a consideration for us, but nothing we're not used to dealing with. Any questions or other threats? No questions. Okay, that's briefing complete. And with that, we are loaded. So let's just see what changes we got. We would come down here. We can cheat a little bit. We'll get the final load sheet through, but we can load sheet final 67. It dropped for 67.1. So we've gone down. Recalculate. Hasn't done anything to the figures. We send that across to double check. We'll do the same here as well. Is anything to any change, particularly very minor change into performance? Clean speed 220. Clean speed 220 matches. That's an important check to do. Means there's no difference between what's in the paperwork and the plans versus what's in the computer systems of the aircraft. I'm going to call up for our ATC clearance now. Luton clearance. Good evening, EZ57 Delta Golf. Stand for Airbus A320 information Bravo QNH 1020 requesting IFR clearance to Berlin.
Clearance on request. Stand by.
Okay.
EZ57 Delta Golf. Information Bravo is current. Cleared to Berlin via the MAT 2 Charlie departure runway 7. Initial climb to 4,000 feet. Departure on 129.55, squawk 6123.
Get to Berlin via the MAT 2 Charlie, runway 07, initial climb at altitude 4,000 feet, departure 129.55, squawk 6123, EZ57 Delta Golf.
EZ57 Delta Golf. Read back correct. Ground is on 121.755, safe flight, sir.
121.755, thank you. Good evening. Right, stop climb, 4,000 feet in, 4,000 blue, checked, and transponder was 6123, and a quick PA to the passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. I'm pleased to confirm we're just finishing up here on the flight deck and we're going to get underway. Now we have sent our ready message to ATC. We have received our clearance and we'll be pushing back momentarily. We're expecting a pretty smooth ride over to Berlin this evening, and weather though on the German side, there's a few thunderstorms forecast and stronger gusting winds, so may get a little bit more turbulent as we approach Berlin, and to be aware of that worsening weather picture over there, but nothing of concern. If there's anything we can do to make your journey more comfortable, please reach out to a member of the cabin crew, and I'd like to thank you for choosing EasyJet today. Okay, passengers sorted. Cockpit door, make sure that's closed. Not showing the passengers actually, and we would lock that. We can get our IP bleed on as well, keep the passengers happy. We can get the beacon, our seatbelts on, and always missed that with GSX. It's getting the auto cut off. And it gets them underway. Fuel quantity checked and balanced. Seatbelts are on. Here's our nav. All looking good. Doors closed, and they get armed on the push as part of the Phoenix or the GSX settings. I think it's the Phoenix. Ground, good evening. Easy 5-7 Delta Golf, stand 4 requesting push and start.
Easy 5-7 Delta Golf. You're on the clearance frequency. Please contact ground on 121.755 for push and start instructions.
121.755, thank you. I changed that. There's a little button, so I am cheating a little bit in terms of programming. Because the first pilot monitoring, sorry, would normally change it over for me. Ground, hello, Easy 5-7 Delta Golf, stand 4, request push and start.
Easy 5-7 Delta Golf, push and start approved. Face south.
Push and start approved, face south, Easy 5-7 Delta Golf. Perhaps I need to turn my GSX volume up. I'm not sure they're waiting for me. Possibly. I recently reinstalled the SIM. I've got a new ultra-fast SSD I put the SIM onto, so I did a full reinstall. Settings have changed somewhat. There may be, yeah, in the EFB as well. That always catches. So Phoenix, ground, well, that's all off. GSX, what are we doing? Interrupt pushback, no. Beacon is on. That's probably the parking. I bet it's the parking brake. That's before we do that, then we do before start checks. So takeoff data is confirmed. Windows and doors locked, and we wait for those to auto arm on the push. Beacon is on. Let's try taking the brake. Up brake. The parking, right? That'll be that thing. Oh, we're on the move. Right, there we go. I was waiting for that. My bad. We'll start the timer on the chrono. And we'll just get pushed back. We'll clear these lines over here before we start number 1. Okay, engines are over the line. Engine mode select for ignition, starting engine 1. Engine 1 available, starting engine 2. Right, I need to sort my GXX messaging out. I presume they're asking me to set the parking brake, so let's just jump back. Yeah, fine. Engine 2 avail. So mode select to come back to norm. We're finished with the APU now. I've got terrain on the first officer side. We'll normally wait to turn the weather radar on. But I am going to turn it on momentarily because I'm single crewed and it's a few less click spots to play with on the taxi app. Scanning around for white lights. Might plan that side, performance this side. There's my pin walking away, showing me that there. I just can't see it behind the pillar. So, excellent. Off you go, thank you. I will get the weather radar on now. And 30.9 was our MACTO. So there's our reference triangle here. Essentially, you want to make sure that the aircraft is in the green band here for trim. If it's in the green band, the aircraft will fly. Well, will fly, not impacted by trim issues, put it that way. Other reasons could, of course, cause it to not fly. There or thereabouts, 30.9. And with that, we can do our after start checklist. Anti-ice is not required and off. ECAM is checked. Pitch trim, rudder trim, we've sorted out. After takeoff, after start checks complete. And with that, we'll do the flight control checks. So, we're looking here and at the PFD as well, and making sure free movement. Well up, full down, neutral, all left. I have interference there on my dead spot adjustment required. Full right, neutral. And it's always at a convenient time. Hello. Okay, thank you. That's cabin sorted. I want to be on VHF. Right, rudders. Full right. Full left. And neutral. Auto brake max armed. Back to the system page. Easy 57 Delta Golf, request taxi.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, runway 7, taxi via Bravo.
Taxi to runway 7 via Bravo, Easy 57 Delta Golf. Taxi light on. Config 1 plus F. Spoilers armed. Parking brake is released. Next action is our brake check. On the brakes and pressure 0. That's where we want to see. It's clear left, clear right side. I do have my tow guide tracker, I'm forgetting that now, so if I sort of readjust that into position, that's quite helpful for the taxi. It's really the time when I use it, is taxiing. Visual circuits in flight comes in handy. Probably has more benefits to general aviation flying than IFR flying and the Airbus, but certainly for moving on the ground and having a good look around, checking your blind spots, it's a good tool. So I'm pleased to have that back, natively controlled in Sim Update 3. Settings are in a post, as I mentioned, on the YouTube channel, the TBI tracker. Okay, taxi checks, flight controls, we have checks, flaps, config 1+F checked. FMAs, so we're 134 blue, 139 magenta, climb Napoli 1FD2, stop climb 4000, and we've got our QNH 1020, which is current. Radar and predictive wind shear is on. Ecam MO. Takeoff, no blue. And this is where our hotspot is. So we're clear left side, nothing coming from the right. And taxi checklist complete. Cabin crew, cease for takeoff. Now, it does say intentions, want you to auto-tune the tower, because it's a little bit American, and that's what they do on the American side. TARA over there, and we'll get ready with packs 1 and 2 off. And EZ57 Delta Golf's approaching runway 07 for departure. Bit of a prompt. Nothing shown on TCAS.
EZ57 Delta Golf, contact tower on 126.73 for departure clearance.
Tower 126.73, EZ57 Delta Golf, good evening.
EZ57 Delta Golf, contact tower on 126.73, so long.
2673, that's right. Tower hello, EZ57 Delta Golf's holding short of runway 07 for departure.
EZ57 Delta Golf, Luton Tower, runway 07, winds 130 at 8, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 07, EZ57 Delta Golf. Okay, lineup checks. Cabin is secure, takeoff runway is 07 confirmed, TCAS is TARA, packs 1 and 2 are off. Tracker on again, approach is clear, nothing on TCAS, and runway is clear. Okay, take off. Engine stable. Man flex 53, SRS runway, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. knots. B1. Rotate. Positive climb, gear up.
Easy 57 Delta Golf. Contact departure on 129.55 falls.
Lever climb. Pitching down. Departure 129.55, easy 57 Delta Golf. Departure hello, easy 57 Delta Golf's with you passing 2000.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, Luton radar, identified, climb 4000.
Climb altitude 4000 feet, easy 57 Delta Golf. Speed checks, flap 0. Okay, we can get AP1 in. Second pack. Disarm. Off.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, climb flight level 200.
Climb, flight level 200, easy 57 Delta Golf. Let's open climb that we can pull standard. So 200 blue, passing 36 now, cross checked. So far, say intentions AI working nicely for us on the ATC. Plus 15 on the TAT, so no anti-icing required in this visible moisture. I've been readjusting my settings as well since Sim Update 3, so I will do another video running through those. So I'm on the AMD 7900 XTX Sapphire Nitro Plus card, I think it is. Bit of a beast, but yeah, I've been doing a bit of tweaking there. Optimise the performance. Approaching Brooklands Park, or the left turn towards the North Sea. Climb, flight level 260, easy 57 Delta Golf. So I'm using the mini FCU today, here in the background, but put that in. 260 blue. Okay, passing flight level 100. So we can come down, we can clear out our Xinfo. We don't need that anymore. Secondary flight plan. We can delete secondary, copy active. We didn't use any RadNav data on our way out. Progress page. We can achieve our expected expected cruise level 370. 386 is currently our max. That's checked. At this point, we can consider releasing the cabin. We're in still air here. It's nothing of concern. We're out of the clouds, so seatbelts can come off. Cabin is pressurising. As expected, the temperatures are comfortable.
EZ57 Delta Golf, contact London Control on 121.23.
London Control 121.23 EZ57 Delta Golf. London Control, good evening to you, EZ57 Delta Golf, so with you passing at 12.7 for flight level 260.
EZ57 Delta Golf, London Control identified. Good evening.
So flaps, spoilers, max, lighting, QNH, all sets.
EZ57 Delta Golf, London Control, climb flight level 320.
Climb flight level 320 EZ57 Delta Golf. 320 blue. All happy in the back. Yeah, so far I find with, say, Intentions AI, there's a little bit more, you can give it a bit more general chit-chat and it will understand it compared to Beyond ATC, which is a lot more structured and scripted in terms of what it says to you. But overall a little bit more pricey, so I purchased the annual package with, say, Intentions AI.
EZ57 Delta Golf, climb flight level 360.
Climb flight level 360 EZ57 Delta Golf. I think it's your option of purchasing it in dollars or euros, but about £140, 146, something like that, what it worked out as. 360 blue. So, expecting to be in at 1914. We're coming up to 1800 UTC. We'll skip forward. We'll do a bit of a fast forward for the cruise section, and we'll come back for the landing, the descent and landing phase. We'll get up to 360 first. Do let me know what you think about this form of content. That's the first time we've really done a full-length flight as a video, so something a little bit different, I guess. Certainly pretty overcast down there in the UK. was a little bit annoying with the Sane Tensions. I've just purchased it, and you get a 24-hour, basically free time to play with it. But even though I'm a premium customer, it wouldn't allow me to use the traffic features because I'm in the demo stage. So I think I've still got to run through the 24 hours of being in demo mode before
57 Delta Golf, climb flight level 370.
before I can play with the traffic side of things. I think I haven't worked out how to turn it on yet. Flying flight level 370 is E57 Delta Golf. 370 is blue. We will have a look at that. For me, that's really important. That adds immersion to the simulator. Traffic is a huge part of my day-to-day operations. I want to say interference in terms of what I do. It's traffic slows us down ultimately. Has an impact in how we fly, the time we spend at airports, all that kind of stuff. So traffic, weather, really important. Passengers, they cause delays. So all these things do add to the immersion of the simulator, and I think it's really important some of these packages offer that. VATSIM has really good controllers generally. They're really well trained, but what hurts the immersion is some of the trainee pilots, I guess. It's not, they've got to learn and it helps them learn, but I guess if you're coming from my world, I'm used to dealing with professional ATC every day and pilots, and it sounds a lot different. So I do feel a lot of immersion is lost sometimes on VATSIM. So it's obviously some people being a little bit silly, or that kind of thing happens. People don't understand, but it's part of the learning process, which I totally understand. But this AI type of software works. I think there's quite a sweet spot in terms of balance of immersion there, which could be really good for a lot of simmers. Personally, not much on the weather radar. I've found the weather radar to not be very helpful, unfortunately, in the update. It's because it's a flat view, it's not a three-dimensional view. It's very limited in terms of help it provides you in the simulator, unfortunately. It makes the screen look more realistic, but unfortunately, in terms of usefulness, it's not there yet. It's certainly not representative of the real-world weather radar. So we cleared up to 370, which is our top climb by London Control. We're out into the North Sea now, heading up towards Redcar, crossing Amsterdam, on our way over to Berlin, keeping an eye out for those CBs. We'll have a listen to the ATIS as well, seeing what the winds are doing, because we're expecting those to pick up a little bit. If there are any routes you'd like me to cover, just drop me in the comments and I'll pick those up and take a look. I'm sure there is plenty of opportunity for covering more of the kind of point where the tray table comes out, a bit of paperwork gets filled in, the FB gets tapped away on, and coffee arrives. once we're through the fun and games of what life on the ground throws at us, it's usually this is usually the enjoyable part, the flying. So often the shorter part. Unless you're on short sectors, which keeps you on your toes, and the intensity is a lot higher. Don't really terrain on. Going to consider shortcuts, but try beyond ATC out with a shortcut. There's not really a shortcut available. It's going to be it's all in line really this time. So over to Berlin. ETDB. That's what I'm doing. To get the threshold in there as a reference. So distance to threshold at Berlin is 397 nautical miles.
Easy 57 Delta Golf. Contact Amsterdam radar on 125.75.
125.75. Good evening, sir. Amsterdam radar, good evening. Easy 57 Delta Golfs with you passing 332 for flight level 370.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, Amsterdam radar, identified. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Okay. Shortly beginning the right turn over towards Amsterdam. I did turn up some background chitter chatter. Going into my settings. Traffic. Yeah, it's additional chatters at number 9. I'm surprised we're not hearing anybody. Pick it up a bit, but so far I haven't heard another aircraft. I did earlier on testing. But for the purpose of this flight, I'm just really interested in how the ATC itself responds to us. So which is so far so good. Be interesting to see how it handles the approach segment. I know beyond ATC it had every flight usually had a coming off the flight plan end of route. It's the standard terminal arrival route. It had trouble with that part. The final was a bit of an issue. That may have been sorted now. There have been a few updates with it. That was a little bit frustrating. coastline of Europe coming in and out there. The Rotterdam port there. We're on the starboard side. Same intentions. AI will also, so on the premium version, will handle emergency scenarios for you as well. It does do CPDLC. I've been trying to set that up. You see, that's probably why I've got 101 messages in my CPDLC inbox, if you like. But yeah, it's a little bit more experimenting to do with that. I'm still ironing that one out. But in terms of straightforward ATC setup, no issues at all really. It's quite a straightforward process. It does have its own app which operates independently from the simulator. Well, it does have a resistor. So App Store Free, because this is probably what I'm seeing on the app. So you can have a look at this. Make it a little bit bigger maybe. So it gives you messages, gives you frequencies around you and things you can click on. And the good thing is you just have to click on the frequency. It can auto tune your radio even from the text here. So that's really helpful. So 370 Mach cruise. Let's just dive down and take a scan through our pages. So all is looking good there. And in terms of a fuel check, yeah, we're excellent on fuel. 5.6 attached to 4.9 is what we needed. Excellent. We'll cruise on over. We'll pick the. We'll fast forward the cruise, and I'll see you at the top of descent. Descend flight level 080, easy 57 Delta Golf.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, maintain flight level 080.
Maintain flight level 080, easy 57 Delta Golf. Descent. Cabin crew, top of descent. Okay, we're getting our way down into Berlin. Currently direct Delta Bravo 413 and it cleared flight level 80. So in terms of briefing up the arrival, we're on the Oscar Bravo Lima 24. Lima arrival. Thrust idle. – 2400 is our MSA for the approach segment. In terms of the go around, Smith approach, climb a runway track to Delta 0.6, India Bravo November Whiskey, maximum 4000. Intercept and follow the radial 296 to Bravo Bravo India and then to Okba. Continue climbing on that radial to 5000, then passing DME 17 on the Bravo Bravo India, continue climbing to flight level 80. Extra fuel, let's have a look at that. What drag required, let's just see how that's getting on. Yep, profile a little bit away, so I'll get the speed brake out. Fuel currently an extra 54 minutes, 1.8
descend altitude 3000.
Descend altitude 3,000 feet and confirm QNH please. Should be 1014, but it's usually given. Quite a late descent we'll give him. But it all depends on how much of a shortcut you get at Berlin. Please confirm QNH for Berlin.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, QNH 1015, maintain current altitude.
QNH 1015, and we're on in descent to flight level, sorry, altitude 3,000 feet initially cleared. Confirm you want to stop descent. I want to maintain this really at this stage. It's a little bit dodgy. I'm going to carry on down. Okay. Speed brake's coming back in. Thrust idle. So we're going to be ILS runway 24 right, currently expected, flaps setting full. Plenty of runway to play with here. So a crosswind component of 12 knots, 5 knots on the head, so a little bit of a crosswind. Nothing going to cause us any problems. We have calculated idle reverse
Easy
and use
57
of water
Delta Golf,
brakes.
contact Bremen radar on 125.3.
Contact Bremen radar 125.3 Easy 57 Delta Golf. Bremen radar, hello, Easy 57 Delta Golf's with you.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, Bremen radar identified. Good evening.
As we're coming in 24 right, Lima 4 for a vacate would be nice, economically wise. We've got hotspot here, spot 6 as we come onto apron at Delta to be aware of. No special or non-standard operations for this one. Just need to keep an eye out for the weather. Some CVs and gusty winds were forecast, but so we're not seeing that in the ATIS yet. Currently we've got 320 at 13, Cabo K 16, so it seems to be no significant weather. 320 at 13, just cross check that, and yeah, that was in 16 1014 in 1015, but this free break to help us out here. It's not uncommon to fly the full approach at Berlin, but it's also not uncommon to get a shortcut, so you never know what you're going to expect. So auto brakes low, flaps config falls in. On the QNH 1015, cleared altitude 3,000 feet. Last week, a little bit more drag. Just gotta watch the VLS. Open descent.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, Bremen radar, contact Berlin approach on 121.13.
Berlin approach 121.13, 57 Delta Golf, good evening. Berlin approach, good evening, easy 57 Delta Golf's with you in descent to altitude 3,000 feet.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, Berlin approach, identified. Good evening, expect the ILS runway 24 left approach into Berlin.
Expecting the ILS T4 left approach into Berlin, easy 57 Delta Golf. ILS T4 left. Poor heading. Insert. Seven. So, quick brief required. Arts. So we're on the left, so we're vacating right. Performance. T4 left. We're better on 2-4 left. That's not an issue. Auto brake slow remains. It's only 1014. Whatever 100. Seatbelts on. Cabin crew landing in 10 minutes.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, 22 miles from Charlie India 24 Lima. Turn right heading 245. Cleared for the ILS runway 24 left approach.
Right heading 245, cleared ILS. 24 left approach, easy 57 Delta Golf. So wrist approach, climbing one-way track to 3000 initially at EME 0.6 east of Bravo Bravo India. Turn left max 190 knots, radial 345 inbound, Kilo Lima Fox VFR climbing to 4000. Upper engine anti-ice on as we've gone into icing conditions here. Free dual, autopilot 1 and 2. Only 5 miles out. Sorry, 1014. Sorry, lock start. 1014 is checked 3 times. Seatbelts are on minimums. We need to reevaluate our minimums for 24 left. 349 up. .9 is blue on the barrow, and auto brake is low. Brake checks complete. Select outer visible icing, engine anti-ice can come on. Runway's in sight at 12 o'clock. Quite a nice evening actually here in Berlin. Speed hold start. Just monitor the capture of altitude 3,000 feet. Halt. And we can go flaps 1, speed checks, flaps 1.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, contact Berlin Tower on 118.805.
Contact Berlin Tower 118.805, Easy 57 Delta Golf. Berlin Tower, good evening. Easy 57 Delta Golf's with you on the ILS 24 left.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, Berlin Tower, winds 290 at 8, runway 24 left, clear to land.
Clear to land, 24 left, Easy 57 Delta Golf. Flaps 2, speed checks, flaps 2. Glide slope start. Glide slope. Capture. And gear down. Arms. Having 3 seats for landing, please. We're 3,000 blue. That's 3. Speed checks, flaps 3. And flaps full. Speed checks, flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. Go around altitude is 3000 set and blue. Eco memo. Landing no blue. Landing checklist complete. Bit of a crosswind. We're at 18 knots. Almost a direct crosswind at the moment. Here we are, stable. My control. That one. Continue.
Minimum.
Continue. Reverse, spoilers, decel. Manual braking. 70 knots.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, welcome to Berlin. Contact ground on 121.705.
Ground 121.705. Thank you, Easy 57 Delta Golf. Okay, we'll hold it here while we get our taxi instructions. We'll clean the aircraft up. Tune ground. Take our time to get set up properly. Remember, we're single crewed. No good rushing anything here at this stage. Berlin ground, hello, Easy 57 Delta Golf's with you.
Easy 57 Delta Golf, Berlin ground. Taxi to apron D gate 03 via Mike 5 Tango Charlie Victor 3. Good day.
Taxi to apron Delta gate 3 via Mike 5 Tango Charlie Victor 3. Easy 57 Delta Golf. Alright, where's my ground chart? Is it not starred? Airport, that's the one we want. Alright. So we had via Mike 3, so right here. Tango. Actually, it thinks we're here. I think so. We need to go Tango. basically we're going across, and right, it makes sense to go down here. That's what it's asking us to do. It's a sensible. I think it thinks we're junction up for some reason. I'm sure we get told off. Oh. I meant to press the Tobii eye tracker on, actually. So, cleared left side, clear right side. So we go across one. That's my eye tracker. There we go. Get that squared up. Cleared on the left. Now we're clear on the right. Rate temperatures, how are they doing? 110 is the highest. Keeping an eye on those. The landing noise is still too intense. It sounds like a bit of a crash landing, unfortunately, for some reason. That needs addressing. Yeah, that was a nice flight. Enjoyed that. Simulators perform well today in Sim Update 3, and so has the Phoenix. No real issues, and Say Intentions AI has also performed very well. I don't think there was an occasion there where it really misunderstood me, or I had to repeat myself, so that worked well. Hopefully we'll get some traffic injected onto the next one, and we'll see how that works out. And we can go single engine taxi. Shutting down number 2. Victor 3, that's what I wanted. So cleared right side and cleared left side. Gate 03, Delta 03. wrong airport. Would have preferred to go on to one of the decent gates, but we're being shoved down here and remote parking. But that happens, that's real world. That's real world. Cleared on the right here, so roadway. Cleared on the left. Okay, Delta 03, stand is clear. Let's just get our taxi light off before we move on to stand, so we're not blinding anybody on the ground. Back on. Excellent. On blocks, that's 1 hour 47. Let's put some lights on in here to see what we're doing. Okay, we've got the APU, and we'll shut down engine 1. N2's below 20%, that's what we're looking for. There we go. And seatbelts, and the beacon can come off. And we can deboard. The GSX will do its thing. Into 2000. So fuel on board 3620, fuel used 3810. You said a little bit more there actually, so really trip was free, just over 3.5, but we did carry extra weight because we took extra fuel on as well, so that will explain that. Okay. Fuel pumps can come off. External power on. We can take the APU off. Maybe there's a bit of deboarding action going on. Oh, there it is. Excellent. I enjoyed that. I think that worked out quite well. Let me know what you think of that format in terms of posting videos, full flight, feature length. And also let me know if you've got any route suggestions as well. But that was a nice little trip across to Germany from London Luton. I hope you enjoyed that. So if you've got any suggestions on future routes, do drop them into the comments. If you have any questions at all on the Airbus A320, more than happy to answer those if you drop them in the comments. Thanks very much for taking a look through this one, and I'll catch you on the next one in due course. Take care.